Number 9. In 1972, to reduce pollution in the Great Lakes, limits having been set by the United States and Canada on the amount of phosphorus that could be discharged into Lakes Erie and Ontario. Alright, there's a few problems with this sentence. The first one is, there's no complete verb, right? Limits having been set is not a sentence, right? I can't say I having been tired. I would say I am tired or I was tired. So it should read at least limits were set by the United States and Canada. However, there's a second problem here, and that's there's some modifiers, right? Starting the sentence, in 1972, to reduce pollution in the Great Lakes. Whenever you see a verb phrase at the beginning of the sentence that's a modifier, to reduce pollution, you ask who's doing that? Are the limits themselves reducing pollution? No, these countries are reducing pollution, or laws were passed, but the limits weren't to reduce pollution. They weren't doing that verb action. So right away we can look down and eliminate B and C, because only D or E is in the correct place for that modifier to make sense. So let's read it. In 1972, to reduce pollution in the Great Lakes, the United States and Canada have set limits on the amount of phosphorus that could be discharged into Lakes Erie and Ontario. Doesn't sound immediately wrong. The modifier is now correctly modifying United States and Canada, and there's a complete verb. Let's look at E. In 1972, to reduce pollution in the Great Lakes, the United States and Canada set limits on the amount of phosphorus that could be discharged into Lakes Erie and Ontario. That sounds fine to me too. Alright, how are we going to pick between D and E? They both are grammatically, it seems, correct. The only difference is the tense of the verb, right? This is have set, and this is set. Alright, so the answer is E. Why? Because in this case, set is past tense. So this is simple past. Simple past. My handwriting's terrible. Simple past. And have set is called present perfect. It's just a fancy way of describing a tense that starts with a to have verb, then uses the past participle, in this case set, and describes something that started in the past and is still going on. Now, if number 9 read since 1972, this D would be correct. United States and Canada have set limits. However, this is happening in the past during 1 year, and it's over. It's simple past. If you asked me, when were you a student? I'd say I was a student for 15 years. If I asked you this question, you'd say I have been a student for 10 years. Why? Because you're still a student. In this case, we needed simple past because this happened and it's over. The answer is E. In 1972, to reduce pollution in the Great Lakes, the United States and Canada set limits on the amount of phosphorus that could be discharged into Lakes Erie and Ontario.